But the later the game goes, the scarier that Yunara gets. So we get into this one, CFO versus Anyone's Legend, to see who will be the second team to move on to the quarterfinals. CFO just continue, again, to surprise. 2015, the last time we saw someone from the then LMS, now LCP region, move on to quarters. AL gonna look to shut it down here.
I see a lane swap ward, Dracos. I see a lane swap ward up there. Rest was able to put that lane swap ward up on top side in the side brush, and the Scion has moved into position.
Wanting to stay away from that Nico. I think interesting choice here. Obviously, you expect Rest to lose out pretty hard to Flandre early on, but normally when you have Corki alongside a ranged champion, the Phosphorus Braum, though it has been nerfed in recent patches, usually gives you a lot of control.
Doggo did pretty well in the 1v1 last time around.
Yeah, that's
just
fair.
saying.
That's fair. Wait, do they have 3 top laners?
Yeah.
Do they actually have 2 different AD carries?
Exactly.
Which one of them will be going bot with Kaiwing?
They've got Doggo for the ranged champ top laners as well. Draven last time around was very successful into the Rek'Sai. We'll see about the Corki into the Kled. And having Nami as your support for your sustain down here for a Scion is actually really nice. Sustain plus Scion as a duo, not too shabby. And Doggo here trying to push Broken Blade, or excuse me. I see a Kled.
Okay, I see a Kled. It's of course. Look, I'm just glad it wasn't me. I think you'll get the pass for forgiveness. I don't know if I would have. An honest oopsie. Broken Blade, obviously a big enthusiast in counter picking with this champion.
Flandre though pushed under tower. You know, he's been accustomed to it though.
Yeah. Stranger losing out there. Just holding on is the name of the game. Honestly, for both of the lanes that have been swapped around. Now Kaiwing doing what he can with the ebb and flow. Nami, of course, high mana costs, but really powerful abilities in the early stages of the game. The W especially. That's a good lane control so far. And Chang's Q just trading blows. It's level 3.
So I actually want to talk about a general philosophy, because since you cannot stop pro players from swapping ever.
Yep.
Like, no matter, I don't care what your rules are going to be, they're going to swap around. Is it a bad thing if we just return to everybody? We're going to have some action.
Hold on. Kyle, we're having a conversation, bro. On cue. Ooh, the slow.
So is it a bad thing if we return to a state of League of Legends where it's less important to have a main role, and you should just know how to play League of Legends anywhere?
I would love that. That said, I got players in my region struggling to play the one role. I don't think we need them trying to play 5, Kobe, so maybe one step at a time for the rest of us.
Fair enough, but you know, hear me out. Back in the way old days, in the before times, when League first came out, we literally didn't have role selection, you know, and people just had to play wherever you got.
Yeah.
And so now with all these lane swaps, well, we're going to get another game.
Tarzan on the way down. Twisted Advance should be pretty easy here. Q backwards, some additional damage onto Rest. Is forced to flash. Hope the extra damage. Nice backstep from Rest.
Okay.
Anything else, but it's a flash for flash trade. Jojo on the top side. Flandre ready to remount. They have to be careful about not letting him stack that courage. Flandre now running the shotgun blast back. He remounts. That's why you gotta be careful.
Click on that Kled. I want to see how much real HP that sucker had. That is so insanely close, playing on the edge. Kled's players always have to play as close to the edge as possible, but he remounts just barely.
The shotgun blast back. I think they thought he didn't have it, but gets him just out of range. Allows him to stack up that courage. Scarl coming back in the nick of time. 33 HP. 33 HP.
So anyways, back to if you kind of just use Doggo, if AD carries are expected to be able to lane as solo laners, right? Which you are now, and you're just supposed to use AD carry champs, ranged champs, should everybody just not be prepared to play any lane, any number of champions around at any time? Here's another look at attempting to dive the Kled while dismounted though, and you're always trying to watch out for the remount, but he flashes away. I see
Shotgun
39,
auto.
33.
Oh! It's just the Valk animation. If Doggo, I think, walks forward there and just autos, but then if he doesn't Valk forward, Flandre can backstep. That is the difference of like animation frames in terms of that kill actually coming through.
So close.
And I gotta say, while 80 carries are looking good on the top side, I do wonder if people who played against Gledmore would have been able to pull off. They would have had the perfect courage calculations.
Perfect courage calculations. It's definitely a skill you need in League of Legends.
League of Legends. And in life, where it really has you saying a lot of weird stuff when you get into abilities.
All right, well, we have returned to normalcy, so we will postpone our
300 gold lead for Rest, and only 100 gold lead for Hope, and Experience pretty close on the top side, and Doggo with an Experience lead as well. So again, CFO initiating the lane swap, less dramatically one-sided than it was the previous time, but still working out very well for them.
Yeah. Meanwhile, we are going to get Maokai pressure on bottom side. So everybody still has flashes, should be fine, but Tarzan's got some time to work with, so.
Skywing, very close to the ball there, immediately going to get knocked back with the Arcane Smash and just deleted.
Maybe should not be fine. It's just flash in from Maokai. You're not going to do anything because the Fog of War, he just had an instant flash W root and insta-kill onto Skywing. Really nicely done from Tarzan here. This guy can play any champion in the book. This time around, it's Maokai. Point and click with the flash. Gets the kill, immediately gets the objective. And as I said up before this, he had the full time because all his camps are cleared. So this is as efficient as you get. He spends that time immediately getting a successful gank, successful objective, and can just go back as the camps are respawning to keep up with perfect clear speed.
It's going to be good. Also accelerating him to that Bloodletters too, just to make sure that any bit of MR that comes through is shredded, whether it's the damage from Kyle or Shanks. And it's a nice start, right? They took away the Pantheon. They took away so many of the early reliable ganking junglers, but point and click CC is point and click CC. That twisted advance paying off, and Skywing, while we like to see him branching out, this is one of the downsides of these range supports is they are super vulnerable. Early stages is CFO now swapping back to the top side. 30 seconds until the grubs spawn. They will be first to make the swap happen. So do have a bit of a pressure advantage. No TP for Rest, however, or Flandra.
Okay, Maokai with level 6 as well as Wukong, so we do start to worry about those punishment, jungle punishment plays, especially as we are only 5 seconds away from the Void Grub fight. Very impactful ultimates from each of them. And Kled is still bottom technically, but the ult can close a lot of distance, so could clear the wave, start walking up, and might still get here for the later grubs. But as of now, the first one is cleanly taken without Smite by Jinja, so he still has Smite to secure another one. Just Q Smite that one, 2 for sure. 2 for sure, 3 for sure. Kled's not coming, Kled's not coming.
And that is CFO being first to that top wave, right? Getting pushed first. So Doggo and Skywing could move down first, as well as Shanks able to, Rest able to wander up. Now it looks like it might cost him a plate. Certainly did, but able to secure the objective without any blood. Able to get all 3, which has been pretty rare. Usually at least you have to give up 1. Now, looking at a small gold lead for AL, yes, but CFO maybe hoping to reap some of that back once they're able to get in range of those tower plates. Doggo completely unafraid. Level 7. Again, that time in the solo lane really working out well for him, and while Rest, the early gold lead is slowly dwindling, he's still holding up okay against Flandra. Kyle. Get a bit of damage down, using the clone to scout out just to make sure that the dive isn't coming, but no one else is in the area. Junja ready to go in. Root there, Doggo, Junja going up, that's the tidal wave to zone off Hope. Hope immediately gonna ult, transcending, now the Realm Warp coming in. First rotation coming in for Shanks, the follow-up knock up there to stop Shanks from getting any damage down onto Doggo. They are going to be able to walk away.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, pretty good from both sides, I'd say, because it was a good instant flash from Kyle. If you don't flash the ulti and you even just the time that you're knocked up in the air, they burst you down. So right as he goes in, Kyle, good flash to survive. Heal and flash used though, so it is going to be 2 summer spells for 2 doggos, both of doggos for both of Kyle's. Actually as well as a teleport for Shanks used there in the end too.
Looks like Hope debating if he can actually recall. Likely has a bit of gold in his back pocket, but we'll need to stick around as Doggo is finally going to force that wave out. Crucially, Hope didn't burn any summoner spells, so should feel pretty comfortable in the next Drake fight. 1:30 away from Hextech if AL want to contest it.
Okay, so Shanks, no teleport, no Realm Warp. So gonna have to walk his way around Summoner's Rift like the rest of us. Just like the rest of us plebs, non-Rise players. Meanwhile,
This is what
he usually.
what is your personal vendetta against globals and semi-globals? There's a Scion who's going to drive into a fight and a Kled who's going to mount. Kled doesn't walk at all.
Yeah, this is probably not. This is probably not the game.
We'll bring it up later.
Probably not the game to do that. Is going to be a convergence down here towards the bottom side, though. Like the link up there between Kyle and Tarzan once again. Those two, when AL were at their peak, it is about how great they work in tandem together, both for vision plays, controlling the map, and even ganking together. But looks like no further trade there.
Not quite yet. Kyle resetting to the top side. It's the little Rise icon at the top of your screen. Oh, Nico, the bane of play-by-play casters. Now it was a reset as well from Hope to the bottom lane. Is going to get that first push out. So better overall setup around the Drake for the side of AL. Great vision, good push in the bottom lane, but CFO setting up a play on the top side. They want to punish Flandra. Kyle is here to cover. We saw it last time. The difference in a tiny bit of courage might be all it takes for AL to hold on. 3v2.
Nico in the bush.
Kyle ready to cover. Trying desperately to clear the way. Flandra has to be careful not to take too much damage. If he gets demounted before the dive comes in, that would be the big threshold. So CFO plays stymied on the top side of the map. In the meantime, furious pings going down onto this dragon. They recognize the window of opportunity. They've opened up for AL to take the second Drake of the game.
Yeah, good defense from AL. Keeping up with these swaps, good read from them, good defense, but looks like they're going to be contested.
Shanks zoning. Good damage, phase rush as well, just to stay at arm's reach. Tarzan taking his time, although the objective resetting. CFO going to be able to get mid-prio relatively quickly. Tarzan, again, one of the downsides of the Maokai is he really does not solo objectives well on his own. It takes a year. So Rest able to stop it at the very least.
And we're back to having Corki versus Kled topside in the 1v1. Doggo again is one of the AD carries, really confident in that. Nami will soon join him, so Nami's going to apply the extra pressure here. Can they knock him off the mount again? A little bit more poke. Go for the tower plates.
More auto, a little bit of extra money for Doggo, get him closer to that initial Trinity Force power spike. And we saw in the previous game, Kanavi learned firsthand what happens when you walk face first into double Trinity Force. All of your health instantly disappears. Really only Hope completing that initial item. And finally get the setup around Drake.
Yeah, you know, seeing the Nami finally join as well on top side, they're able to finish off the bottom side cross-map objective play for themselves. During the reset, though, okay, this was a triple reset for the side of CFO. So Junja, as well as Hongq and Doggo, all coming back with fresh purchases. And Wukong Trinity Force is one of the biggest spikes you can get in the game. Single item for that champ is massive.
Definitely is. We got Mandate for Kaiwing as well, so staying away from Redemption, instead opting for a bit more burst damage coming in these fights. Not quite how scary as it was in previous iterations, but still powerful addition to any damage output that they want to have. And sadly for Doggo, did just finally get the last stack on that Cole, so can really at any time go back and buy that Triforce, and he will just immediately do so. So this is a scary time to fight. If you are AL, Proto Belt not completed for Kyle either. A little bit more pricey.
Honestly, though, I mean, I feel kind of good for either side. It just depends on the engage. If you have good positioning for frontline, I feel like frontline is going to be massive here because of the nature of Kled and Maokai ultimates and how wide the variance on those can be for a team fight if they get blocked by a Scion or countered with Nami Wave. So we'll see about the setup for those team fights, and choosing the location, the terrain of your fight is just massive in this game as well because of them. Here we go.
Ulti in, tanking the tower. Shanks caught out. Decimating Smash not quite going to come through. Shanks, one more stack of the Cyclone as they start to spin right on top of him. Rum Warp there, but Junja, crushing blow, just takes him down.
Beautiful surgical dive there from CFO on top side. Mid lane as well, the pressure, but...
Forced to ulti, but almost able to threaten the kill onto Doggo. is forced to use the barrier in the end, but they get the heal out from Kaiwing too.
So nicely done from CFO. Even though your tower is traded on the bottom side, you make the early move, you get the kill there, and mid lane was able to apply a little bit of pressure as well, but still fairly even. Towers just traded. Very...
Oh, hold the thought. Doggo stepping up. Massive damage on the Fox Bomb. Here comes Honkyu. Tarzan's got nowhere to go. Twisted Advance to get him out a little bit extra healing, but Honkyu snipes the kill.
Plus, I get the extra pick. While they're doing Rift Herald, they get the kill free. Here, onto Tarzan. Tarzan, no flash either.
I mean, no ult for the Yunara. They just don't do enough damage. Kyle forced to rocket belt out away from Doggo. CFO using these spikes beautifully. And I gotta say, they've just been a step ahead. CFO continue to impress.
Really, really nice kind of swipe there. Able to pick up the Maokai ultimates, kill the Maokai himself, get the Rift Herald. They can just rotate on over, reset with Rift Herald. That thing, the mid lane actually is gonna be able to sustain through a Rift Herald charge, but you only need a tiny bit extra on top of it, and they will be able to bring Trinity Force empowered autos pretty quickly. So CFO in a pretty good spot here versus AL, who took down Genji and HLE at the tournament. CFO, of course, their game versus T1 was just so well planned and executed.
Yeah.
That's why a lot of people are really looking forward to this 2-0 matchup here.
Yeah, and again, CFO, a team that has been to every international. We've seen them improve. We get
This
to
year,
watch, First Stand, MSI getting better and better, and it feels like it's just continuing to see that growth here in Beijing. CFO need to be careful about the setup around this Drake. They are already 2 down. They cannot let AL get soul point.
And I want to shout out something in particular with the growth of the CFO team. Honkyu, this guy is so young and has really just grown so much confidence. You saw in their game versus T1, he made a critical, we've got some tense
Kobe, you're not allowed to make
shadows.
points. That's what we've learned. Every time you try to say stuff, they go for a fight.
If you remember back to their series versus T1, the Otacon fight,
Yeah.
I really felt like Honkyu's flash with Rise to start it out onto Faker was like, it took so much confidence and was really the thing that kind of started the entire cascade of events for CFO. And I feel like Honkyu has just really stepped up for this team. So much excitement for him ever since he was young, but it was like, okay, well, is it actually going to turn into something you can count on the big international stage? And I really think he has delivered. Let's see if they can again in this game. He has one of their 2 kills. The Aurora is just such a big champ here, and here we go. They get their damage on the tower, and the Rift Herald's going to finish it off.
CFO and Honkyu pushing in the mid wave are going to finish it off. Opens up so much of the map for them. Honkyu wandering in, hoping to catch out Hope. Kyle off to the side. Ulti out from Honkyu. Zoning away. Kyle getting his flash before the big fight is going to be big, but here's the response. The charge now coming out. Ulti from Tarzan. They see a window of opportunity. Tidal wave response. Vondra into the back line. Junja immediately backing up. Doggo for now untouched. Vondra zoned away. Forced to flash away from the bubble. Doggo stepping up. Junja, the reset on the Cyclone just in time. Vondra's got him on a rope, but I don't think that's where he wants to be. Honkyu with the follow. CFO take the fight.
CFO are flying high. That is everybody still alive. 4-4-0. And they own Summoner's Rift.
How many teams crumble in that moment when the immediate re-engage comes in from the opposition? CFO turn it right back, not scared whatsoever. Ulti for Kyle's flash, knowing there's no return. Honkyu, the tiniest bit of mana, 30, almost flawlessly calculated to get him through that fight. And CFO, they were in control, but they were behind on Drake's. Now they've just got everything going for them.
Yeah, Honkyu starts it out. He forces the flash out of Kyle first, early. Okay, we're actually going to start it at the beginning here. We do get to see it. Proto Belt down for Kyle, flash down for Kyle. Then you worry a little bit with the counter engage of the Maokai ultimate, but Honkyu's able to flash out. Kyle's ultimate doesn't get anyone there. Just the clone on the front line, because he had no more mobility with Proto Belt or anything, and they're able to turn around, the counter engage, Rest is able to finish off Hope with the full chase. CFO did such a good job like kiting back there, and then going for the re-engage.
Kiting back and making sure that their damage was hitting the same target consistently. Hope instantly down to 5% HP, could not auto anymore. The second he had to take a step back, they turned right onto Shanks, knowing that if they burst him down, he can't do anything either. And That is not the damage graph I expected to see. Credit to Maokai Ultimate and an AP build, but it's also not the damage graph that anyone's Legend ever wants to see.
And that's why you go attack these Nico supports when you see them like that. I think that is a big part of it, really big credit, because they are such a squishy champion. And if you take away their mobility, when you burn the Proto Belt, burn the Flash, it makes it way harder to actually get a good engage. And we have seen the fairly ineffective LPL Nico engages so far today.
And Kyle is an excellent Nico player. We've seen this man carry games in this tournament.
Yeah, he's having an exceptional tournament. His Nico, you know, previous to this as well as the Poppy game, both insane from him, and that's why I credit Honky with going to attack him. You know, you force out the Flash, you force out the Proto Belt.
And again, heads up, we've seen this at MSI, we've seen this a lot in high-level League of Legends, but attacking the cooldowns, using your strength, not just when it comes to grouped up 5v5s, but actually using those strengths to get the little advantages ahead of those big fights.
Yeah, and then they had multiple other, you know, layers to go with. Junja on the Wukong had, you know, the secondary engage for them, even when AL tried to turn it. And a really big team fight for CFO has resulted in 4.7 thousand gold lead for the Flying Oysters here in game number 1.
And Honky very close to a Shadow Flame, aggressive itemization choice. Now we also have the 2-item spike coming in for Doggo. This is going to be a tough fight, even in terms of raw DPS for the side of AL. Otacon up, always an available option. Both sides were contesting Vision previously. Neither side really has any prio on top side, and it is still 2 minutes till the next Drake, so maybe a brief moment of calm. As you can see, Rest has made his home on the bottom side of the map, just trying to push out. Trading of waves back and forth.
All right, Otacon on the map too. This makes everybody happy. I mean, if you just like seeing some action. Now, CFO, again, I thought last time around, they had a really good Otacon setup versus T1. They're gonna pull it again. As soon as we start talking about it, control ward goes down. They start hitting the Otacon. Now, Tri-Brush, there you go. Tri-Brush is really critical, obviously, to control. And so Doggo himself comes over, plants down his control ward, and just acts as a turret here on the Corki.
And it's a good moment for Doggo because you can see if that was a Jarvan, if that was something else. Hold that thought, charge on the way in. Tarzan trying to bully his way forward. Doggo already used the cleanse, locked up for a moment. Flandra right into the back line, but Rest is here to respond. Doggo for now untouched. Flandra demounted and running. 5K on the Otacon. Honku popping off with the ultimate. It's a tidal wave across the entire team fight, and he catches Kyle. Crucially, but Honku about to fall. Invisible for a moment. The side step. Otacon might finish him off. It's a Realm Orbit coming in for the meantime, and Shanks, but he's not quite sure where he wants to be. Shanks into the back line, but it's Shanks who goes into the tower and will fall. Otacon resetting. Tarzan and AL on the retreat, and it's CFO again making their mark on Summoner's Rift, finding the fight on the top side of the map as Junja spins after Tarzan and takes down the AL jungler.
Exquisite League of Legends from CFO!
Otacon, an easy pickup now. A replay I cannot wait to see. Again, responding so well, the entire team ready to protect Doggo when Flandra forced his way into the fight. And AL once again behind the ball, behind the play. Close, but not able to finish out. It'll take a bit of time, but Otacon is theirs. The gold lead is theirs. The advantages just continue to grow.
Man, Honku surviving on like, what, 50 HP or something? All right, let's take another look at it. They set up well, control ward in the Tri-Brush. Doggo here knows he has cleanse, so he can frontline versus Maokai. He chunks him. Then he Valks back to the rest of the team as they just knock up the Kled on the engage. Rest had a really nice answer ultimate, so they kite back, and Honku says, I'm not letting that dismounted Kled get away. Honku went in with the ulti, hops back out barely past the Otacon, waits for the Otacon spell there to go before him. Then a little bit of counterplay here from the side of AL. Shanks wants to go finish Honku, but he's too deep. He can't get out of there inside the tower. And then it's just Hope and Tarzan left alive with the remnants of their team.
And again, CFO so good at capitalizing on the split-second decisions, these tiny moments. AL, it looks like they're all going at the same time. No, Shanks is a little bit further back, so they don't hesitate to dive in. Doggo knows that the damage from Tarzan and Kyle on one flank isn't enough to kill him, so he is in the face of that Maokai at the start, laying down damage, and now it's starting to feel like AL, this one has just gotten away from them.
That's exactly it, Dracos. The coordination from CFO is much better than the coordination we're seeing from AL so far in this game. I mean, I also just love that Honky goes for that kill to finish off the Kled. You know, Aurora, a burst champion, ults in, takes it to the other side. Helps for the clip that he lived in the end as well.
Yeah,
that was sick.
I mean, Honky, sometimes you see Aurora and you don't entirely understand why this champion is so powerful and so high prio. This is not one of those games. This man is getting summoner spells left and right. It feels like his ulti is always off cooldown. For AL, I'm not quite sure how they're going to approach this Baron, but if they let it go, the game might just not have anything left for them.
Yeah. I also love, by the way, when my AD carry will have summoner spells and use them intentionally in a way to get out spells from your opponents. So Doggo, in that one, he's positioned really aggressively. He chunks the Maokai, knowing I've got the safety of my cleanse, so I can play super aggressively. And yes, I'm using a defensive summoner spell, but my defensive summoner spell allows me to position super aggressively and then still get away with it. Because then when the Kled ults in on him, he Valks back to the rest of the team that is over back behind the Otacon and kind of draws the Kled into the bad spot, and the team is then able to peel around the Corki for him. And it really was very good to see here from CFO. Really fun to watch. Let's see if they can do similar things around the Baron. They have been able to catch up now with the Dragons, both Dragons to CFO's name here, picking up both of the Ocean ones. And 6,000 now, the gold lead.
Yeah, and Flash is available for the entire top side of CFO. Still a bit of time for Kaiwing and Doggo, but also for Hope. Kyle, again, a player we paid so much attention to, has been limited in this game. It is always him getting caught out as CFO using so many of their cooldowns to make sure that he cannot play the fights. Might be a different case as we get closer to the next major objective. It's still Baron, but Junja not afraid to push in a bit on the bottom side, try to protect Rest, make sure he can get that extra wave.
All right, CFO, good macro, push in all 3 lanes, 1-3-1 split push. They've got the rotation possibilities from the Scion through the jungle here. Rest kind of hovering after pushing that lane. And the rest of the squad goes to set up around the Baron. Their turn is pretty good.
Honky
off of
waiting.
Baron.
Vision over the wall already. Doggo steps up into the bush to cover as well. The second the control ward comes down. Does need to be a bit careful, but
His cleanse is back up.
confident that he can just Valk back. And you see Wave pushing in on the bottom side. CFO really don't want to over push.
I love that. Oh my goodness. Doggo moves in, pushes the team out, clearing the ward while the rest of the CFO are starting the objective back up again. Honku threatening the flank, hovering there on the top side too. Their bot lane has been pushed all the way back though, so they do kind of want to take care of that. So Scion's got a couple extra waves he's going to have to work with to re-push there for Rest on the bottom side. So they relent on their Baron pressure for now.
No greater advantage traded here. Obviously, the ideal scenario is you get Baron, but after that, you're playing for smaller cooldowns. A TP, perhaps, from a side laner who needs to come, make sure that they have the tools in the 5v5. CFO not quite strong enough, not quite enough threat on the Baron to force that TP out. Flounder was able to just back and be where he needed to be, as now we see the reset from Rest, moving back into mid lane. Another attempt from CFO to at least get some vision down to contest what AL have laid.
Okay, I'm curious. Chat, and be honest, how many of you predicted CFO to win Worlds? Be honest. I want to see how many actually predicted them before seeing what they've been able to do so far. Because it's just looking so good. What? After their game over T1, obviously I'm not going to say, yeah, wow, they're going to be world champs now, but CFO are certainly impressing.
But you'll imply that they're front runners. And honestly, again, I think that you can cast, like these 2-0s, you're in a Swiss situation. You can get favorable draws. And CFO, they beat T1. First match was favorable, right? It was a pretty easy match for them. This match is supposed to be incredibly hard, but they are making it look easy against AL, who've been, alongside them, the best performing team in Swiss. Kyle shanks Tarzan in the area, ready to cover. Hope 3 items. Has access to the ulti. CFO committed to this objective. Hope's ulti is going to be a big cooldown to keep track of. 6K, objective getting lower. Tarzan ready with the flash to go over the wall. Rest zoning on the side. That's a TP, and Honku immediately going to kick the fight off. Hope immediately going to ult, but Honku manages to find a way out. Tidal Wave for the disengage. Shanks now going golden. KIL now going in, manages to find the pop on, but it's just not enough damage. But Hope remains untouched, crucially. However, they just cannot find a kill. Pushback coming in, CFO holding the line, forcing AL away from the objective, but the worm still stands.
Ooh, these clones from both sides providing the escapes here. So no, stops the recalls, dismounts the Kled.
Ooh. It's continuing to step up. Tarzan is incredibly low. They can just force this. They know that Tarzan needs to reset, but do they feel like they have the damage to burst this down quick enough? The answer is yes.
They feel like it, but is it true? Rise has Realm Warp. He could Realm Warp his team closer.
CFO betting a ton on this play. Kyle still waiting off to the side. They know almost all of the ultis are missing. Flandra has his, as does
Maokai Q smite!
Maokai Q smite! Tarzan gets it! Flawless read, Kobe's the fight now breaks out. Flandra off to the side, rest isolated, but Junja is still standing. AL got the worm now, they need to get to the fight. Hope continuing to step forward. CFO forced back. They thought they had the damage, but the math was wrong. Flandra in the midst, the entire team ready to demount, continuing to go, finding a hell of a lot of courage now in this late game fight because it's Hope and AL. Realm warped into the back line, but Rest says we're gonna get something back.
There's only one survivor for AL. It's Shanks, and Hongq
goes in, takes him down.
They wipe every Baron buff off of Summoner's Rift, but still, Dracos, I will say something I've said a lot of times, don't try and smite fight Maokai.
Nope, Q smite good.
That Q does a lot of damage. Tarzan's able to steal the Baron, but CFO have stolen our hearts. They get all of the kills onto AL.
I mean, I agree. They got all the kills. They wiped to this Red Bull Baron power play. Is going to look a little bit pitiful. But you can see this is the confidence they thought they had it, but here comes Tarzan.
Yeah, okay, so Maokai, Q has such a, I mean, the jungle damage modifier on this thing is so big. Q flash smite, really good from Tarzan to steal it. But you see, Doggo immediately killed Kyle on the top side, and they punish Tarzan for his steal immediately. So they've got the numbers advantage. Then AL chasing forward, and CFO kind of kiting back behind this control ward. The Nami ultimate delays the damage follow-up. So Flandra is in there pretty much by himself until the Realm Warp comes through. And even though Doggo gets taken down, he does a lot of burst damage, enough so that Rest can then finish off the kill by flashing forward. And then Shanks tries to teleport out because he sees the teleport. Look at the mini-map closing his exit from the other side. And so he knew Rest was going to teleport up above him. So he tried to teleport out, and Hongq just finishes.
Yeah. And Flandra's so close to remounting, but Hongq having just enough damage to deny it. Hope into the back line, but didn't have access to the ulti, which means he didn't have the extra dashes. He couldn't outspace the Scion. A game of inches in that fight, but CFO, soul point, triple oceans already. Hope is getting stronger and stronger. Armor pen there. Shanks needs to finish that Zanya's. Already used the Seekers in a previous fight. Despite them getting the Baron, it does just alleviate some of the gold. It doesn't put AL in a commanding state. They're still down in Otacon. All the grubs, all the Drakes. CFO in a dominant position, but AL found one way back in. Perhaps they can find another.
And that's why this is so impressive, because CFO are doing it versus AL here. AL are having such a good tournament. You know, taking down Gen G, huge. Taking down HLE, looking so good. And let's see if AL can actually bring this one back for the LPL, because currently the fans in the stadium not too happy.
And I think I can understand why. Because AL are the team, again, as you highlighted, they beat HLE, they beat Gen G. It felt like this is the new generation. This is the new team you can rally behind when so many other organizations have fallen flat. But CFO looking to do the same for the LCP. Looking to make history here. 10 years since the LCP, now the LMS then, made it to top 8. They made 2 teams back then. AHQ Esports Club, the Flash Wolves.
Yeah.
It was never a question. After that, there was a huge fall off. So many players ended up going to the LPL. But now, the resurgence, the level of this team, undeniable.
I would venture to say as well,
Let's do
you know, of course,
bold statements.
This is also just the first game of the series, by the way.
Bold statements.
This doesn't guarantee anything for
Hyperbole.
CFO. Even if CFO can finish this one, obviously we've got the rest of the best of 3 to play. But I would venture to say that extremely few people coming into the tournament would have predicted CFO and KT to be the first 2 teams through to the quarterfinals for sure. But let's take a look at the finish of this game. They're doing it once again, methodically, move up their vision through the jungle. Junja is okay because he still has his clone, so he's able to get back over the wall after the Krugs, but they're setting up their vision leading over to the Baron. Again, we need to point out the Realm Warp possibilities for AL. This ability in combination with Nico can provide you with such crazy engages. If you fire off a Maokai ultimate from one side and you Realm Warp the Nico in on top of their heads, you can get a crazy explosive engage. AL still have the possibilities in this game to turn it around.
Something CFO is respecting. The second they get that bot lane push, Rest is TPing up to join them. 5-man press into the AL jungle. Both sides very aware of those choke points. Not wanting to give an angle for any of the AoE. The clone comes out, all of CFO back up. They give that respect over to Kyle, over to the Nico. Ulti from Honkyu.
AL gets the red buff. Post 25 minutes, it is actually such a big buff that that is a real objective you're fighting over nowadays because it goes on to every single member. So red buff secured there for AL. Nicely done.
As well as getting the ulti out of Honkyu. 25 seconds still. Baron likely won't have the cooldown up and available. 3 items for Honkyu, all aggressive options. Has not died yet, not a single defensive item in sight.
Yeah, very big burst damage on this Aurora. You have to be insanely careful about your positioning. AL are going to have to ward all of their flanks. And even then, it's still hard to track and mark the Aurora, but they're going to have to do it. So now we get the fun time, Dracos, because Dragon's Soul is only 45 seconds away. That, with Baron both being on the map, opens up all of these plays for CFO where they can try and force AL into the bad engage themselves.
Good position to be in. And I think for CFO, the early dominance they had in this game is really paying dividends because the mid lane tower is still up. It's so hard for AL to find any flank angles of their own. So hard to get that creative Maokai angle that you mentioned earlier. So both sides just continue to poke. Doggo still walking forward with a lot of confidence, but has to give a little bit more respect as ulti now coming in for Flandre. Immediate TP coming on the backside. That's Honkyu on the way to the fight. He does have the ulti up and available. Tidal wave going in. Honkyu coming back. Ulti just in time. Wants to take down Shanks, but doesn't quite have the hard CC. Shanks manages to make it out. Barres keeps driving forward as Hope falls. Tarzan and Kyle on the backline, but all of the damage is gone. Tarzan will not be enough. Kyle finally finds the engage, but it's too little. It's too late because it's Junja moving in the whirlwind there. AL crumbling. Flandre comes back into the fight just in time to watch AL fall to pieces. The Quadra coming in for Doggo. CFO dominate game 1.
The Oysters look exceptional today. CFO are going to march on the Nexus Towers.
And it's going to take a second because there's no way.
The minions are going to follow shortly.
But it's 12 seconds to Kyle, it's 23 seconds to Hope. It's not enough. CFO moved better around the map, fought better, out executed. 5-0-11 for Honkyu, Quadra for Doggo. Kyle is not enough. CFO take the first win.
20-5. CFO huge.
Of the second game in this series. Again, reminder, both these teams 2-0 took down the opposition in best of ones pretty effortlessly. Now in a best of 3 decide who will join KT in the quarterfinals.
So I do see one possible problem for CFO here. And this is going to be pretty good for AL. AL's comp, they have really good wave clear. Okay, let's take a look at this. You know, one of the big reasons, obviously, is that champ you just saw on your screen. Hope there with the Ziggs. But AL have really good wave clear, and CFO do not have any long range aside from the culling, which is poke and not siege. So this CFO team, this comp, does not siege very well at all, and so it revolves around objectives, neutral objectives, and winning the team fights. I don't think that's necessarily an inherent problem. You know, you don't have to have team comps that are, you know, great at just sieging by themselves because there's so many plentiful objectives in the current meta.
But if you end up in a stalled out neutral game, having that wave clear can just make it so difficult to set up on a play first, which is what CFO were so good at in game 1, always being first to the objective, always having their waves in a better position. It's going to be much harder this game.
Yeah, and it just means it's going to be necessary for them to have these team fights, this objective play, since the wave clear is going to be quite good on the side of AL.
Honkyu early on. Orion obviously decent in these early levels just because her passive gives her so much damage without needing to use abilities. Honky will do what he can to hold on, but keeping our eyes on where Junja is going. You mentioned it before. If you can just get that Orianna's flash, the second Akali ticks over to level 6, she has so much kill pressure in the 1v1.
Yeah. Can definitely go for early ganks. You don't want to fall behind in experience to a Xin, though, for sure. Xin, very good for dueling. Renowned for the aggressive plays. Doggo, by the way, nice little chunk there with the level 2. Gets a pretty nice unanswered trade in the bottom lane. Meanwhile, Hongq soaking at the moment. Rely on the Dorans, and for now, the second winds, which, by the way, I think I did see second wind nerfs for Alive, and we're gonna have some pretty big changes to meta, post Worlds and stuff, and looking towards next season. But for right now, you get a lot. You just get so much sustain with that combo. Resolve secondary plus your Doran's shield, which is also getting nerfed and changed, is a big reason why you get to play some of these some of the melee matchups.
Of course, Hongq, I guess, leveraging what's strong in the patch. Probably already was happy to do so, but a good indicator that you're playing the right stuff is if you see it nerfed on the next patch. Hongq forced to use the Shroud here. Shanks doing his best to stay at arm's length, but okay, does get the cannon. Hongq, lower, wants a cannon of his own. Is he willing to risk his life for it? The answer is no, -1.
Yeah, it's not looking great for him right now, and if both junglers gank, then it becomes hard. Level up, though, is good.
Shanks slowly but surely running out of mana.
Okay. Chilling. Both the junglers just getting their Raptor wards for second respawn of Raptors for their opponents. And
wow,
pretty
bottom
standard.
lane. Junja wandering in. Again, often with the Ziggs, you can take control of the lane early on, but Braum is just so good into these melee options. It makes it hard for Kyle to do much, and Junja to commit to the dive, moves in, Central Charge doesn't do a whole hell of a lot. 3 markup, that's 4 on the concussive blows. Kaiwing now moving out. Tower angle flawlessly traded. No one nearby to punish.
Great dive again here from CFO to start it out, taking out the Ziggs. Minion wave is gonna bounce back away from AL as well. This is so good for CFO and very efficient as well. Junja, even though Kyle is chasing him, Junja can recall now. He's not going to be too delayed on his second clear. And immediate swap from CFO. I like this too. Sending Doggo and Kaiwing up to the top side.
Trying to be proactive on the map. Looking to get Rest back down to the bottom lane. He's getting closer to 6, which will mean it'll be easier to clear the waves, and still ahead.
Yeah, he'll just teleport down there to answer the quick push from the Ziggs, who used his teleport to get down there to quickly answer. So do really like this from CFO. Just immediate kill into swap on the other side, catch the wave with the teleports.
And those are the little things that are important and have been giving CFO the edge, right? The heads-up maneuver to shift to the top side instead of going back bot, because Hope, despite going down, would have been in a really good position because he would have just gotten so much CS, been able to crash that wave if Doggo and Kaiwing had to just walk back.
Yeah, just answer it with Rest teleport, and now Flandra, since Flandra's going to walk, you are going to have the Flandra teleport advantage, but I don't know if that really is going to be super useful. We'll see, though. Nice ward, by the way, when they go for the long play. That ward in bottom lane to see the timing on the way back. And teleport out is answered from Shanks. Kaiwing, you're on a ward, buddy, so they aren't going to get too much there.
Another reset and swap from CFO. They had to get more experience on the bottom side. Flandra's still a ways away from 6. Rest ticked his on the bottom side. Reset goes back top to clear the wave. Loses a couple of creeps here, but it means that CFO have their bot lane in position around Drake.
Okay, Tarzan's running over to contest. Leona's pretty far away. Leona and Orianna will come, but it is later.
Tarzan ready with the wind becomes lightning. Shanks level 6, so is Hongq. 800, Smite gonna finish it. Kyle wants to keep the fight going. Junja isolated off to the side, but it's Hongq immediately diving in on top of Tarzan, trying to stop any fall. But now it's a 3v2 in the river. Hongq absorbing so much pressure, likely gonna cost him his life, but he manages to take one with him. CFO grabbed the objective, likely to take down Kyle as well. 1-for-1 trade thus far on top of the Drake. Flandra doesn't hit the ult! That's so close, pixels away. Kaiwing, they managed to go right back in. Kyle holding on for an extra second. Feet of warfare there. Kaiwing right in the back of the pit. He's a dead man walking, doesn't have a flash. They're gonna take a bit more time and clean him up, but my God, what a start to game 2.
Was that anti-synergy between Ziggs Satchel and the ultimate from Flandra right there? That spread the water, parted the water so they
I'm
didn't.
so glad we have
Let's take a
replays,
look.
Kobe. I have no idea.
Yeah, but it ends up, and it's first 3 kills over to CFO, so they get the feats, and that was without, of course, the Rumble, since Rumble had used teleport, and CFO are -1 on teleports in this game. Let's take a look at that replay. So they finish the dragon, get it low, Q smite here from Junja, and then AL know that they're gonna have the extra person here. You see Ziggs on the minimap coming down, and so that's why it's critical that Hongq 2v1s, as you are highlighting, because the extra person from AL is going to come clean. 2v1 from Hongq, hits the ult, he even started emoting as he was taking it back. Anyways, here's the moment we want to see, because I'm pretty sure Satchel Charge splits them apart. Yeah, it's anti-synergy.
No.
The Satchel splits them and makes it so Flandra's entry into the pit is delayed, and that allows Doggo to get the 3rd kill for the feats.
Impressive stuff. And again, at the end of the day, AL getting an extra kill. As CFO started the fight with 1 from the tower dive bottom, but they get the feats first, and that's what's crucial. And they get the Drake as well. And you don't want to call back to game 1. You kind of want to let that be the past. But the little moments where the team isn't on the same page is so often what cost AL the fights. That's a little upsy. You're still getting kills. You're not trading down too far. It's only a 700 gold lead. But this is the thing that AL need to improve. They can't afford those moments where they're not on the same page.
Well, well, well. Okay, Tarzan gets chased out of stealing the red, but they should be able to at least... Oh, they're going to finish the burst on this one.
Finish the burst. Rest ready to contest. Doggo waiting off to the side. Coling up and available. That's Junja coming down from the stars. Tarzan isolated face first with Rest. It's going to be a tough fight, but in comes the public execution on the backside. Down goes Rest. Kyle going to take the kill. Another one going to fall as Kylwing gets taken out. Hongq versus Shanks in the bottom lane, but it might not matter. Tarzan's running for his life. Junja ready to finish that one off. Doggo gets it with a piercing light. And Hongq will escape in the bot lane 1v1.
Okay, so +1 on the kills for CFO. The Pantheon ultimate allows the chase. Junja is able to force the fight. They get the extra kill. They're not going to get the extra grub, I don't think, yet, because the teleport from Leona... No. Yes?
Maybe.
So, yeah. So
Yes.
Leona is able to push them off, so they delay the grub for now, so nobody gets the last one.
1 for 1. The
Not
grubs, as of yet. Reset coming in first, though, from Tarzan. Means he's likely to take that one. Okay, we take a look back at how this starts.
So, Junja is able to ult over here. They focus onto Tarzan. But the ulti from Tarzan does delay their kill onto him and requires the flashback in. Meanwhile, they did get the ulti there from Flandra to go in and get their kill. CFO, though, as 3, still stronger. They get the extra kill, taking down Tarzan, removing the enemy jungler so they could go get the 1 grub. But Tarzan then goes back to collect the final.
Good for AL to have that boon, that extra stack towards the necessary feats. Important to know, though, this is Kylwing getting so much value out of the Braum. You see so many teams struggle when they don't have that immediate reliable engage, but he's just getting concussive blow after concussive blow, and it makes these skirmishes so impossible for Tarzan and Flandre to play, because while the initial burst is good, you're going to get CC'd. There's no dodging.
Yeah, definitely some good value in the Braum pick, especially for later on in the game. The team fights, very effective counter engage. All right, back into the regular lanes, though, with having Akali match Orianna and Rumble match Flandre's and Bessa. So Lucian in mid lane always feels pretty good at the moment. You know, with just Essence Reaver, a lot of burst potential there, going for some heavy trades, trying to push him out. Meanwhile, Hongq up here, Akali versus Ori in side lanes always feels really good, keeping up the pressure, keeping up the threat. Of course, while the towers are still up, it's not really that scary.
Also going for Roa, because, I mean, good understanding from Shanks. Oftentimes people will criticize Ori's over-prioritizing Roa, as we see Ulti coming out there. That's just the shockwave. Would have liked to get a little bit more. Now at least he's getting prio. But of course, against assassins, against people who are going to dive you, the tanky option makes sense.
Speaking of dive, are they going to dive bottom? Because Flandre is out of energy, and Pantheon is walking bottom at the moment.
Doggo. Pursued out. Flash away from the wind becomes lightning. Good that AL get that cooldown. Now they can shift their attention topside. They see the TP coming in. Want to punish Hongq. Hongq, though, knows that Shanks has no ultimate. There's not a lot of damage here quite yet. Also, Ziggs ult was used in the mid lane, but with 4 people on the way,
no shroud.
Go in. Knows that he has to commit at least a little bit to get away. Wave being held. Instantaneous knockup. Nice back-tap coming in from Hongq. Redemption coming in. Healing there. They'll finally cut him down. In the meantime, a push back in the mid lane. for CFO, but well played by AL.
Okay, Pantheon has ulti, so Kaiwing's trying to make time right now. They could Pantheon ulti up with the dolly.
Push in. So they want to keep playing by Kyle so low. Just barely able to escape the spear. The extra damage might have finished the job.
Ooh, good job here from AL. They get their dive off. They also escape. Double globals being used on them. So that was a teleport plus a Pantheon ult to the top side. And AL were able to escape. Can't lock down the Leona. Can't keep him under tower. And AL escape.
Doggo will grab another plate. The commitment to try and re-engage on the top side does guarantee he has some free time mid.
Braum attack!
Hope.
Super blast cone.
Casual fly in.
Super blast cone. Braum coming in with the Q. But doesn't result in anything. So, honestly, I thought the redemption from Kaiwing I thought that thing was actually going to allow Honkyu to, some further antics and survive, but good for AL to be able to finish that kill and get out because the game had been kind of slipping away from them once again. They do have their 2 grubs, but being down 2 dragons as well as a little bit of the gold does cause some worry.
That it does. The thing that they always have to be aware of on the side of CFO is the little mistakes will cost you dearly, right? Because if the Ziggs team is ever in a position where they control the map, you'll just start deleting towers, especially with the grubs. So there is a lot of potential standing gold as we get later into the game for AL if they can find that big team fight win. But for now, CFO seem pretty comfortable. Unfortunately for Honkyu, hasn't been able to complete a major item yet, has had bits and pieces kind of stopping off halfway for a Null Magic Mantle. Once he starts getting those early items fully completed, he's going to have a lot more 1v1 threat. Yeah,
and we were highlighting Honkyu, or excuse me, Doggo. We were highlighting both of them.
There's been a lot of highlights.
But in Champion Select, we were talking a lot about Doggo, and he's going to be the one you have to worry about a lot right now because Lucian, with a sizable gold lead here, just puts so much pressure out from mid-game in mid-lane. Going for quick trades, using the culling to try and force people out, get some big chunks, and then lead over into the side for the objective. Dragon number 3 comes up pretty quickly in this game, and with CFO stacking them pretty effectively here, they're going to be able to draw AL out into the team fight that they're looking for, and you have to ward your flanks here for AL. You do not want to let the assassins get a free line to your carries.
No, you do not. And additionally, Chemtech, obviously, not everyone's ideal soul, not everyone's favorite soul, but when you have an Akali, Pantheon, and a Rumble, it's going to do a lot of work. You are going to get a lot of value out of it. Kaiwing doing what he can to clear vision. Just throwing cheekies, winners, bites. Walking up, queuing people. That's the life. Yeah. But AL first on the setup here. Mid-wave still relatively even. Hope has now hit that threshold where he can just kind of clear the waves from enough of a distance that Doggo hasn't been able to, well, at least without the culling, get too much damage down. Continuing to fist fight with Rest, the shielding still making it quite easy. The red buff also keeping him topped off as Doggo dashing into the mid lane. Kaiwing and Kyle there to cover their respective carries. Now, the objective in the sight of both teams is this Herald. AL the ones to start it. Flashes up just about everybody in this game. Tarzan's still waiting a bit, as is Doggo.
Careful for Shanks. He's on the top side by the Akali, and Pantheon could ult over the team into his head. If the Pantheon ults on the Ori plus the Akali pressure up there, it makes the positioning through River really dangerous for your low mobility carry.
Also, you have to keep in mind that Shanks has ticked over to level 11. It was slightly before Honkyu. Honkyu has just now gotten his, but the level 2 on that shockwave can be devastating. So something that CFO have to respect is Rest isolating Flandra.
That was, I believe, I don't know if we saw it, but Flandra flashed.
Flandra flashed, equalizer down, and of course, no way to cancel the Ambessa TP, so I like the decision to chunk out there. However, the all-in, the commitment on the bottom side does make AL feel pretty comfortable going for that Herald. Will grab it for themselves, and Herald plus a Zig Satchel means at least one dead turret.
Okay. AL get another topside objective. So 2 grubs plus the Herald here. Some extra tower destroying power for the team that has the Ziggs, as you pointed out.
Yep.
So multiple tower destroying facets to this AL squad. And if they can use that to cash in on some of the outer tower gold before the Dragon, well, before the Dragon Soul fight, because the current Dragon is already up.
Current Dragon's up. 18, oh, I did not see 8 minutes. I just saw 18 seconds. I was like, dang, 18 seconds of the Baron. We've been in this game forever.
Yeah. All right, so let's take a look at this this possible dragon fight then. If you use Rift Herald mid lane with the Ziggs there, that is a recipe for tower destruction for sure. So AL, use that mid to get your mid priority, and then you can just have an easy setup for this dragon number 3. And while Honkyu is pushing topside, CFO can just make the decision to give up dragon number 3. They don't have to keep stacking them. It's the choice right now for CFO between, do we keep our Akali split pushing? I mean, the tower's going to go down early, so I guess he could just get the tower and then still have time to teleport in. Are we going to see it?
Not wanting to risk, I think, the full-on 5v5 without the setup, respecting Shanks on this Orianna, respecting the AoE damage that can come through. So instead, prioritizing the side lanes, giving up mid lane in exchange for top lane. Will they concede the Drake?
Oh, he's teleporting. Here we go.
They do want the full fist fight. Kaiwin kicking things off, already exhausted. Off on the backside, it's Rez who's getting deleted, but he manages to go golden for a brief moment. Honkyu trying to immediately follow up. Tarzan isolated. Follow-up is there, but the ulti's keeping him safe. Honkyu immediately into the midst of the entire team as Flandre is forced back for a brief moment. Junja flashing in. Shockwave yanking him right back as Honkyu continues to live, but it's hope on the backside. Oh. Honkyu alive once again. Flandre re-engaging. The shield's keeping him standing. Flandre in the midst of the entire team. He manages to make it work.
What a fight! AL clutch it out there. They're going to get the dragon on top of all of the extra kills.
Impressive stuff. Exactly what AL needed. A gold lead, the momentum in their favor, stopping the dragon, stacking, taking a fight off CFO.
Holy, okay. They get the extra flower petals. They get the Drake on top of it. Wow, what an amount of damage there. And the flank round on the backside. I mean, Rest went super early. So AL got so much extra damage into Rest and forced out Rest's arm guard there super early on in the fight. Kind of made it a little weird for CFO to fight here. So let's take a look. AL had good positioning here. Through the river, they got the double control wards, and Rest walks up. Tarzan immediately onto him. Him and Flandre get that Zhonya's out early. Then you look at the bottom side. Hope there had Ziggs satcheled away. So Ziggs was so far from the rest of the team, and he's walking over the Dragon Pit. Then, as they go in, they got the knockback there. Honkyu gets chunked so low, not quite finished by Hope, but then the rest of them can finish it. And Flandre with the re-engage just tears them apart.
And again, credit to AL. It's easy to forget after that first game where they were so outclassed how incredible this team is at team fighting. Good patience, using their range, collapsing on the flanker, making sure that Rest didn't have that perfect angle. He got a great equalizer, but he was taken down in the process, and it made it so much harder for Honkyu to play out that fight. You could see, I mean, honestly, really good job with the Xin ulti, with the flash, to make sure that all of his cooldowns weren't able to find the kill.
Yeah, and Shanks there with the peel for the team as CFO are trying to chase through the jungle. Good Orianna played there. I believe he got a key shockwave.
He did, yeah. He managed to get the pullback on the Pantheon stun in. So
yeah,
excellent stuff from him. 4-0-4 his scoreline now as well. Almost a 2,000 gold lead. The shockwave is a scary thing now with this kind of advantage.
Okay, AL here in the must-win game. Now retaking some control for themselves. They have really good wave control with this lineup as well. Ziggs bomb allows so much for your macro. Not only does he take teleport, but the bomb with the extra wave clear here, they can set up for the bottom side of the map easily. You know, top side tower goes down, and so Otacon on bottom side. They've already taken care of mid tower, so get your mid priority and then rotate your resources over to the Otacon area. Push in on that last outer tower and make it a bit more risky here for CFO now. Things are going to get much more difficult to play this comp.
Definitely are. We mentioned some of the weaknesses earlier, right? The range advantage for the side of AL means that in kind of if you just line up these 5v5 skirmishes we often see, the poke is going to be a problem. The culling from Lucian is good, but not enough to balance what the Ziggs and the Orianna can do. The pressure is there. AL able to respond, clear out the vision that CFO set up just moments ago. Both sides knowing how crucial this Otacon is. That's the ulti coming in for Junja. Sees them in the pinch. Wants to go in. Tarzan using an ulti, but on an immediate shutdown. Honkyu trying to find his way onto Hope to make sure that no more damage can follow up. Flash forward, stun from Kyle, and they take down Honkyu. 4-man stack from CFO, though, still standing, still strong. Two down.
They got the jungler, so I was wondering if they're going to go to try and do Otacon. It's still an objective that takes a lot to kill, though, and knowing that, okay, they are going to at least start it up here. There's no smite on the side of AL, but Flandra does have ulti. So Mbessa ulti, and if they bring Ziggs over...
has TP. Okay. Is immediately going to TP back to the fight. They need to be careful, though. Their resistances are getting shredded. Hope is going to hit like a truck. They're trying to zone Kaiwing out of the fight for a brief moment.
Burn it. The patience, they let the patience.
Getting lower. Altin coming in from Flandre, immediately takes down one. TP coming in the meantime for the rest of AL. Flandre flashing back to get away from Doggo. Wants to turn the fight back. Doesn't have the shield up in time as Doggo gets one back in return. AL holding the bottom lane. Standing strong. They will not concede the Herald. The patience starting to run thin. And it looks like we're going to have to go one more time because Otacon's not out of this one yet.
Otacon has no patience for these teams. He resets again, but it's critical. If the person that has Otacon aggro, the closest one to the Otacon, is outside the circle, then it resets at just a critical time there, and CFO were unable to finish it. So really big for AL. Flandre used his ulti. The Mbessa key here, they killed him, but the Otacon goes untaken.
Holding on, neither side able to grab the objective, but it's so damn close.
Wow. Okay, how far back are we going? We're going back to the scuttle start. Yeah, so this is the very beginning of it. Pantheon engage was great, right onto them. They get the instant follow-up from the Braum, got the triple knockup, I believe. Then the burst damage, though, from AL. They actually do finish off the kill onto Honkyu before he can ult back. If they had been able to get that, it would have been really one-sided. But look at this patience. Because Rest is outside and Doggo is outside, it resets as Flandre goes for the re-engage. So Flandre snipes the Pantheon. They're not able to finish it. Then the teleports come in to get the full reset. I honestly want to see if we're setting up for it again. Are we getting back to set up for this?
One more time. Junja ulting again, rinse and repeat. We've seen this one before, but this time it's Hope who's been isolated. Hope trying to flash away, Rest off to the side. Hope blocked out the satchel, not nearly enough to keep him standing. That's the ulti from the Ziggs. Not having a whole hell of a lot of effect. Honkyu ready to retreat if need be, but Tarzan knows that he needs to follow. Equalizer to split the fight. They don't have tri-bush control. CFO, it's not a great angle to start. Rest is incredibly low, but they do have the man advantage. Instead, the Drake now set in their sights. Shanks moving in. Level 15 on the Orianna. The shockwave will hurt, but CFO refused to group. Doggo waiting over the wall, calling to split the fight. Need to keep Tarzan away. 2K getting lower. Tarzan steals it, but Honkyu uses the Mega Blast Cone to get in. Instantly, he's suppressed by Flandre, denying the engage back in return. But AL get what they came for. They take the Drake.
Tarzan is a beast. He's able to get the Drake. They started up the Otacon again. I don't think they should. Well, they're going to continue doing it. Are teleports ready? No. Teleports are not ready for the Akali or for Rest. So AL, they're going to force it.
Goes out from Kaiwing. Junja wants to try to find a way in, but AL have control of the tri-bush. That's Doggo, caught out, able to flash out to safety. AL continuing to chip away at these summoner spells, but their focus isn't on the objective. Junja gonna walk forward too. They're risking so much just to attempt to steal. Finding kills back now, he's knocked up, he's taken down. Tarzan grabs another. Patience resetting on Otacon. Rest about to fall, holding onto his life. Surely, AL get the objective.
Good focus from AL to go for kills and not over tunnel on the Otacon. Tarzan constantly looking for anyone stepping up from the side of CFO. They get the kill onto Junja, and they will finally, Dracos, get the Otacon.
That's the patient composure we were missing in game one from AL, playing for the kills, not giving the opportunity for any cheeky fast plays. CFO now, after the Otacon is taken, do respond with a tower of their own, but AL, despite a small gold deficit, now have the Otacon in their favor.
Tarzan with the steal. The W smite steal here. Wind becomes lightning, and Dragon becomes AL's. Braum ultimate here is pretty good over them, but Flandre's ult is even better. They chunk out Honkyu on so quickly. He has to immediately ult himself out, and he didn't have teleport, so they knew they had the extra advantage. They set up again on the Otacon, eventually fish around.
Honkyu! Sure can flip back in. Tarzan wants to keep going. Honkyu laying down a bit more damage. Dash out with the perfect execution. Ulti coming in from Hope. Honkyu zoned away now. AL, do they want to go for Baron here? They don't really have the best situation for their waves and bottom side, but they might not care.
Really good focus from AL on attacking this Akali. Flandre and Tarzan have just had their eyes set on him, constantly getting these big engages onto the Akali. Even in the times where they don't actually kill him, chunking him out so low and forcing the ultimate out in a defensive escape ultimate from Honkyu. Really taking away the potential of that champion to apply threat. So AL with a really good look here in these fights, and it has really allowed, you know, Shanks on this Orianna at level 16 now to scale up so nicely. See if AL can really bring this one home, because pushing us to a game 3 here in this series, I think everybody wants that.
We all want
you want
it.
to see
Yes,
some good League of
absolutely.
Legends here, and the Baron is on the table now.
One of the things I will point out, Doggo liked going for some of these utility items in the previous game. We saw Experimental Hexblade on the Draven. We're seeing Black Cleaver on the Lucian. Obviously additional movement speed, additional HP, recognizing that there's so many dive threats. Doesn't want to just get one shot.
Yeah, worth saying, even with the Otacon being taken and the Dragon being stolen by AL, and even with this tower going down, they're still slightly behind in gold.
Doggo chasing, poke damage onto Kyle. Be careful not to overcommit here,
Pantheon ult?
but Junja might just be on the way, and he is. It's the Pantheon. Right to the back line. Aegis assault to block and evolve. Damage, decent equalizer to kick things off, but Tarzan is relatively untouched. Honky in the midst, the team almost immediately gets taken down. Ulti from Flandra. So many low health bars. Flandra, Tarzan, and Shanks tear through CFO.
AL are gonna get that Baron. I don't think there's anything Junja can do about it. Flash not coming off cooldown. AL will strike back here in game 2.
The re-engage is just so lethal. The confidence to start from CFO is good, but AL play it beautifully.
Chasing into Orianna Ziggs, Dracos, is a minefield. It is so much damage. All right, so Flandra is going to get a Guardian Angel after that one too. You mentioned his ulti for the turn, but here it is. The look, they go for Braum ult and they Pantheon ult over the top to go for the engage. Rumble ultimate didn't get a lot of value this time either, and Tarzan is able to ult and then turn right back around. Look at all this damage from Shanks and Hope from the left side, and Flandra just ults right back in. Blender there as they chase them through and clean up the Baron.
And the thing is, if you're not keeping constant threat on Shanks and Hope, they just get to rain damage down. And the little bits of CC here that come through from Tarzan, from Flandra, it's just too much to deal with. The squishy members of CFO. AL in firm control, leveraging this Baron to its fullest potential here. Red Bull Baron power play.
Shanks with the 5k damage in that last fight, and Shanks is, if you consider a stacked up Dark Seal a real item, which is like, it's kind of a real item, and he's got the Blighting Jewel as well for it's like, it's kind of like a half item there. He's pretty full, and with the Baron buff, AL, they're not gonna let you breathe for very long. Taking down mid tower inhibitor, under fire as well. The Dragon is on the table, so after inhibitor, they're gonna go towards bottom side, take down that turret.
And there's not a lot of counterplay from CFO outside of forcing an engage, but it's AL who will force it first. Tarzan getting us kicked off, immediate knockup. Down goes Rest. CFO gonna retreat, holding the line for now, but again, AL have more range, better siege tool, more threat. CFO can only force a fight. It's their only recourse against the push, against the pressure that AL are putting down. Junja gonna kick things off. Wander still has the GA. Aegis assault to keep him standing for now. Will retreat. Ball pulled back as Honky tries to get a little bit more space. Dash back, but he still gets clipped. Doggo now running. Wind becomes lightning as he's caught out. Forced back into the fountain as AL determined to take us to game 3. Beautiful team fighting across the board. Hongq shut down and denied time and time again.
The Shockwave pulls him back in at the end for another kill onto Hongq. Wow, what a series we've got today, Dracos.
I'm glad to see it. CFO, hell of a time.
I'll be proven wrong in that, and they have a Vi ult and a Nautilus ult, so they can point and click on a couple people and make sure. But we'll see here, the deciding game to see who will join KT in the quarterfinals. Be the second team to make it through.
Beijing alive with the sounds of Zhio, fuel for AL. They cooked a bit of a draft. Need that support now. Of course, again, for both sides, it's about qualifications, about making out a Swiss as quickly as you can, get the luxury, the time to prep for quarterfinals. You won't know your matchup, but you get to learn the meta better. You get to pick whoever you want to scrim against. It's a huge boon for either one of these teams. We're keeping our eyes on this level 1 because you highlighted it, right? Very stock standard. Both teams know exactly what CFO's composition is going to do. They've played as it, they've played against it so many times. So for CFO, are they going to try anything new, any creative level 1 pathing? Their initial invade spotted out. Shanks and Hongq already starting to trade in the mid lane.
Standard lanes as well. Rejoice. Does mean And we get a lot of possibility of action, especially in a Nautilus Alistar lane. Both junglers are currently starting bottom side, though, and clearing toward the top side matchup anyway.
Immediate barrier.
Ooh, ooh, ooh. Don't you love Misfortune early game?
Is quite impressive.
Oh.
They are being reminded of firsthand as another barrier is going to come out in response. He has to be careful not to get low against the Jhin, but overall, you can see why they would pick it, right? Smolder for the composition, maybe some scaling angles. Might have been an argument, but in terms of winning this lane early on, the Nautilus MF is damn impressive.
Yeah. Love the early Misfortune damage. You can make use of the passive, double tap, make use of your Q burst with your press the attack, and
Oyster has like half an ability at level 1. Nautilus has a passive and a Q.
Yeah. It allows them to get the push for sure. As we said though, both junglers are pathing towards that top side matchup instead. Trundle a little bit ahead, though he's on vision, so will be fully tracked.
Of course, slows down a bit as he gets to the multi-target camps, but Junja doing his best to keep up. CFO using their prio to allow Kaiwing to roam up towards the mid lane. On Q level 3, as is Shanks.
So you see that ping right there too, through river. Even though they don't have vision on Kaiwing, bottom lane, this is just good comms. Hey, they pushed us in. Could be a Nautilus support towards mid, and the immediate yellow ping, the retreat ping through river. So even though the ward didn't quite spot him.
Kyle. Initial engage, follow-up CC is there. Heal forced out from CFO. Hook to re-engage on the Kyle, but just trying to even out a trade that is wildly in favor of Hope and Kyle.
Yeah, nice job by AL duo lane. Take advantage while Kaiwing's making his way back to the lane. And the Alistar sustain coming in quite nice for them as well.
You can see in the top lane, though, Rest trying his best to bully Flandre out, not give him any chances to trade autos and heal up with that Rek'Sai passive when he's underground. Nice flick from Honq. Prio in the middle lane again, as expected in the early levels. Kyle, nice headbutt back to stop Kaiwing from freezing the wave as well, so that's going to mean a few less CS for Doggo to walk home to.
Meanwhile, the first buy is the Cole refillable for Doggo. So we are going to be a farmin'.
I like how I was hyping it up. I was like, it's going to be fist fights. It's going to be great. We'll be here for a little while.
And Misfortune is very good in swaps, like mid and late game swaps because of the strut. So refillable gets a lot of value because you can strut back to lane very, very quickly. So Doggo there with the refillable, and then of course you always get that mid game where it's real nice. You get your BT and you kind of cruise into mid lane.
Yeah, part of her kit that's been nerfed multiple times because it was so good. Back was like MF Thresh in early 2020s. Still incredibly powerful to have that strut, that additional movement speed, and Doggo pretty comfortable, right? Cole Doran's a lot of baseline sustain in this 2v2 matchup, keeping up pressure thus far as Kaiwing starts to come in. Junja and Tarzan pretty close in terms of overall clear. A few more CS. And it's calm, it's quiet. Level 6, I expect to be the big break point. See Junja with ulti be able to be more active on the map. A similar story for Doggo, Kaiwing as well.
So also, rushing into Executioners versus Rek'Sai, everyone's always complaining about Rek'Sai's sustain. Does Executioners make a meaningful dent in that lane? Or is it still like, oh, the sustain is still annoying?
I think it's still annoying, but presumably 40% less annoying.
But like then Rek'Sai like backs off, and you can go underground later and like get your sustain later.
You want to check? You're in the game.
I mean, we'll check
find the number later. We'll find the number later
as they get more time to use it. I feel like it's just kind of like you're.
The question is it worth delaying?
You're throwing like a single bucket of water on a raging
fire,
brush fire or something.
But you can say you're helping.
Yeah, but we'll see. As of now, they're both just farming contently. So.
Yeah. Is it performative anti-healing or is it meaningful
exactly. Again, it's still going to be like, oh, there's a Trundle in the game. You can get some value there. There's an Alistar in the game. You know, there'll be some value there.
Rest clearly very focused on the lane, right? Because it is 800 gold delaying your Spur Spike. You're not building a Chempunk Chainsword, so keep an eye on it as we go further. Monkey and Shanks just continuing to trade. Junja getting closer and closer to that level 6, as is Tarzan. There's Junja, who feels comfortable to start this Drake on Vision, admittedly, but bot lane, unsurprisingly, has prio. Again, this is why you see this Nautilus MF. There are concerns as to how it's going to function in the overall composition, but the early lane phase is incredibly dominant, something that Hope and Kyle are respecting.
I mean, you're not going to get away with this. Ocean Dragon slows as well, so it can be annoying to disengage from. Teleport comes down to fully commit, though, for CFO, and that's going to scare off the rest of AL. So good job fully committing. CFO, get it. Is the entry back to mid going to lose anything? I guess like one melee off screen dying, another one dying.
Like 3 total.
Okay, so they lose a tiny bit for the teleport down to the other side.
So that is Honkyu's TP advantage spent. Shanks will now have his up sooner. I think he did use it earlier just to get back to lane. So a potential window of opportunity, but again, no fights yet.
Yeah. And I mean, you apply the executioners and then like Rek'Sai backs off, and you can kind of wait for it to fall off even before you go burrow again and stuff. But we'll stop talking about that one. We'll have some better. We'll have some better interactions.
You're so upset.
Not upset.
You're not convinced.
It's not upset. I'm just questioning.
I think the Zeka not building tier fundamentally shook your faith in professional players. That's my theory.
Are we going to get a mid-scrap, though, on support room timers? Because the grubs will be the prize either way.
It's true. AL first to start it. Tarzan feeling quite comfortable. It's not really a great position for CFO to contest. They have level 6, they have MF ult, but way better vision setup. They might be able to get one. That seems the most likely trade. AL immediately going to back away. I think that makes sense. No reason to commit to the fight once CFO are able to arrive. Just be happy with 2 that you basically got for free.
Okay, content with that. So 1 objective feat point for each side with the 2 grubs for AL. Honestly, seems like it's still going to be the calm reset there. We do have the LeBlanc rotated to bottom, though. So this is going to make it a little bit more interesting. And they're still sending Misfortune Nautilus back down here. So CFO are not answering the AD carry swap to mid. Nope. And it's just going to be the Jhin versus Taliyah in mid. So control wards are fine for the Jhin down there on the bottom side, keeping the bottom side a pretty easy save. But pings for a top side play, everybody else is going to join. So Taliyah ulti is ready.
Flandra backing up. Burrowed under the ground using tower a bit early. TP coming out. CFO just immediately back up. I like that discipline. Didn't want to risk giving anything away to Shanks. LeBlanc getting those early kills, just not worth the trade. Doggo instantly ults wave, knowing Shanks is no longer there, and will take the opportunity for a clean reset. But in the meantime, AL still managing to get a little bit more gold out of this one. Junja flashing out to avoid the chains, locking him down. So AL winning out on the trade, despite losing the TP.
Okay, turret plate in mid lane. Nice movement from Hankyu to dodge the chain, but as you say, you know, the flash from Junja. So maybe you can put some pressure there.
Lose a plate mid, lose a wave bottom. Very close trades, very close exchanges.
Yeah.
Neither side able to really generate a greater advantage quite yet. Doggo very close to that first item completion. Didn't feel the need to stop off for boots. Again, courtesy of the strut. Getting that Bloodthirster means he's going to be able to be a lot more aggressive in these mid lane trades.
So mid game, AL's comp is going to have a lot of burst damage. If they can get kills, then I like it. If they don't, then there is a high chance that they run out of damage for later. Unless the Trundle can get really big too. The Trundle can have some pretty big value there as well. But if LeBlanc and Jhin don't get any kills, then CFO might have a pretty manageable situation. We'll see though. Of course, no kills for either side as of yet. And we'll have to wait another minute for the dragon. But
Shanks stunned, but a nice pullback means that
Alistar behind. Alistar headbutt.
Through. Kyle not quite able to get the angle. Rest flashing out, immediately going to pop the dominance. Tarzan coming to the wall. Rest very likely to fall. Q healing. That's the cold of meat, keeping him standing for an extra second. He wants to dash out, but down he goes. Shanks with first blood.
Very nice overstay there. Kyle still behind an enemy jungle. He is warding up. Bottom side.
Just a big rock. Not enough to finish off Flandre. Flash out as well. Good job surviving on the bottom side from the AL top laner.
Yep, Rek'Sai lives, Renekton does not. The Alistar here, Kyle making the difference, sticks around, keeps the Renekton locked up so that the LeBlanc does get a kill. Dracos, well, that's exactly what we were worried about. Now the LeBlanc, this
what was
burst
the
damage.
threshold? Did you want 1 kill? Did you need 2 kills before AL got scary? I think 1 might be enough, because that's a Luden's
I mean,
opinion.
yeah, exactly. Ludens plus your 2 stacks on your Dark Seal. I'm scared. That's some good burst damage. No flash on the Renekton either now. And Renekton will be a bit delayed on the first item on the Black Cleaver. Here comes
Tarzan running in. Junda does have the Sunder Sky, just barely able to get away from that giant water bottle. This is the worst part about very serious games in League of Legends is sometimes someone just picks a goofy skin and you're like, here they are, fighting for their life.
Yeah, it's like one of those. It's one of those water bottle rockets that are for you to set up. And anyways, the timing on that is actually important. You know, Junja goes for a little bit of a shorter release on the Q, so he doesn't get interrupted. But topside,
Knock back on the Flandre. Has access to the tunnel, but not quite. Oh, he's going to be able to get in range, even with the healing reduction. Able to get enough help. Waiting over the wall, though. Who could it be? It's the Vi. It's Junja. Flandre living for an extra second, but it'll be Hongq grabbing the kill. Of course, in the meantime, the counter punch is coming through on the bottom side from anyone's legend. Tower under siege.
So they do increase the gold lead here. Again, they attack side lane. This time, CFO are the ones to kill enemy top laner. The race for the tower, though, they're usually won by Trundles with Trinity Forces.
Yeah. Trinity Force people in general, and then above that, Trundles with Trinity Force. And that's the thing, right? These item spikes coming through due in part to that first kill on the top side means Shanks and Tarzan got theirs a little bit quicker, able to provide that threat, and now denying CS in bottom lane.
And you give the solo, you give the gold to the LeBlanc here. Quickly funnel this burst damage. So Shanks cashes in. Topside, they didn't even actually get to finish Answer on the next wave, and there's still a full...
Doggo chunking out Hope. Wants to get a plate of his own, and kind of important that he does get something else back as he's running relatively low on mana. The Bloodthirster keeps the health up, but can't give him the additional resources in the top lane. Hongq zoned off, as you highlighted, right? They're not able to finish that tower.
Yeah.
And I think this is kind of the most frustrating position to be in from CFO. You do still have your mid lane tier 1, but when AL have push, when you see LeBlanc disappear into Fog of War, the game just gets so hard to play.
Honestly, too, the champ is so annoying when it's good, and the champ is so annoying when it's fed. Just got level 11. It's rank 2 ultimate for Shanks. You know, 2 stacks on the Dark Seal in addition to the burst damage from Ludens that we talked about. So that plus Jhin possibilities of picking people off are definitely there. However, so far this game has been mostly trades. It has been mostly answers, pretty equivalent from each side.
Maybe both sides comfortable in their scaling. But of course you can see here on the Coinbase gold grind, Shanks doing pretty good. Got a lot of money. The additional Hextech alternator on top of the Sork shoes means, well, the first person he sees is dead.
You know who else has burst damage? Misfortune. Doggo's also doing pretty good for himself.
True.
And he got his Bloodthirster. He even has durability with the plated steel caps here. So this Misfortune that we're wondering about, we just saw him get a big chunk combination with his ulti versus Hope. And the ulti's almost back up again.
Need to see.
But not quite.
AL getting ready to contest this. Flandre in the bottom lane does have access to the TP if he needs to come. Shanks hopping over the wall looking for a bit of that poke. TP now coming in for Flandre. Skirmish line set up. Eyes on Doggo for that ulti. Hongq dividing the fight with the wall, but Tarzan interrupts him with a pillar. Flick back onto Kyle is good. Flandre looking for the multi-man knockup. Doggo still standing, holding off that ultimate. 2 more seconds, but there the bullets go. Doggo grabbing the kill on Kyle. AL retreating, but they're not leaving quite yet. The curtains have been called. Doggo backing off, slowed for a brief moment. Junja splitting his attention, wants to finish the Herald, but Tarzan there, ready. A Q smite potential to come through, but Tarzan has no flash. CFO secure the Herald.
Doggo is the bigger carry here. They just melt through the front line. Alistar ult, don't care. They have a Talia. Put the rocks down, get the shove back, isolate the front target, just burn through them. Here we go.
On Q. Knock was there. Flunder's trying to do pretty good damage with the Tiamat. Shanks on the way in as well.
Hello.
Q surely is just going to fall. That's the ulti from Blondre to get another one down. Joji wants to make it the hell out, but he can't. Tarzan flashing forward, the body block. The Vault Breaker breaking absolutely nothing, and Shanks gets another.
Game 3 here. AL answer back, trying to keep it close. They do so. They get 2 kills for themselves. That is feats of warfare collected. So even though CFO are able to section off here, again, good Talia wall, keeps the Trundle out. They kind of zone right there, put down the rocks. Kyle gets burned down. Doggo finishes off with the ulti, and then they get their objective, but it's in the follow-up play. Yeah, and this Jingle, there's not a lot of opportunity for, replay, so it just kind of delays here. And we're just going to finish the Rift Herald. But then afterwards, once CFO feel content and they feel like everything's chill, top side, re-attack. Nice job there from AL to still look for those opportunities to make use of their burst damage. They get Rek'Sai ultimate to finish off the kill. The LeBlanc here up to 2 kills. That's 5 stacks now for Shanks, continuing to increase some of this threat here. So really nice answer. Rift Herald, it's decent, and it should basically guarantee mid tower, which is really nice. You can just, the mid tower is already so low that you can just pop it mid as long as you guarantee it gets the engage off, which it very well should, unless Trundle is there and can foil you with a pillar. Then that should mean that the Rift Herald will guarantee mid, and topside is guaranteed here from Honq. So tower collection time for CFO, dragon collection time for AL.
Of course, when you look at both teams, the gold is very clear where the teams have advantage. Doggo 1.4K gold lead for himself. More healing reduction coming out. Second full item is going to be, and then it's Shanks. 2-0-1, 400 gold lead doesn't seem massive, but he's really going to start hurting here as Kyling's able to block most of the damage with the Celestial opposition. Now the Herald charge going to come through. Waiting, the interrupt isn't quite there. Instantaneous ulti coming in from Doggo. CFO don't hesitate to pull the trigger, and it might just be 2 quick kills in the blink of an eye. Shanks trying to give him more damage down, but Junja is still standing.
That is so well coordinated again from CFO. Just as they kill the tower, Junja's already pre-ulting on Vi. They get the lockdown for the Misfortune ultimate, and 2 towers taken for CFO.
And this is so incredibly important to break open mid like this, to decrease the amount of passive map control AL have, because we know how important it is, how good LeBlanc can be when you have the vision advantage, but when CFO take control of the map like this, Shanks doesn't get to look for those creative angles.
Ah, man, just CFO have been really good in preparing these plays, these set plays they set up. Okay, so initially, I was talking about the Trundle pillar. That's why it looks weird, and just like weaving them around there. It's because he knows, and that's what they're playing around. But then they burst the tower down without that, then they ult right in. Under the Misfortune ult, Tarzan just gets completely one-shot. Really good stuff.
Yeah, I mean, really good. You need to be instant on that coordination, and now armor penetration coming in as well. So even the stats that Tarzan does steal will be a little bit less effective. Second item also on the way for Junja. And Shanks is going from the strongest member to very quickly to the last hope here in terms of overall gold advantage. It's not, huge differences across multiple lanes, but 3K lead for CFO. If they can keep setting up Doggo for success, I think the path to victory is pretty damn clear.
CFO, time and time again, really impressing with their plans, and then of course the execution as well. So let's see about the Otacon. This one obviously has been a game changer, and AL still definitely within striking distance, but I have to say they really do need to get into a poke position or into some fog of war here to make one of these snap plays and take advantage of having a 2-item LeBlanc. You've got a 2-item with upgraded boots now, so extra magic pen here as well for Shanks. Like, this is the time where you really have to make use of that piece of your puzzle. And if they could do that preemptively before an Otacon fight, then that would be huge. But currently, everybody on CFO has their summoner spells. So you kind of have to do 2 layers of work of like, we got to force somebody's flash and then really, to really open up a kill angle here. Yeah. Shanks is doing the trailing split push play.
But this is risky, right? If he shows, they'll immediately start Otacon. They already have. Important to note, Kyling also has exhaust. he holds it, if he can use it on Shanks before that burst damage comes through, so much of that impact is going to be mitigated. Doggo walking in, he has the Bloodthirster, not afraid to tank some of this damage. Big chunk onto Hope. It is the Jhin. He can't stay in the back line, but we'll have to be careful. TP coming in from behind of CFO.
Camp that telly.
Ball breaker ready to go, trying to jump in onto Flandre. Flandre immediately retreating. Wall splitting the entire fight. Hongq knocked away. Curtain call coming out. Last bullet not quite going to connect. One more coming in for Hope, but he can't get anything done. Ulti from Doggo doesn't do too much work, and it's Riverest who might be in trouble. Kyle backing away, 3K on the objective. All comes down to the smite on the Otacon. Ulti in to make sure he gets the pin. It's getting lower and lower. Who gets it in the end? AL keeping the fight going, but no! It's Tarzan in the clutch who manages to take the Otacon. Flandre with the foul up, the double, make it a triple, and Shanks to run down Kaiwing as AL get everything.
AL, they put their flag in the dirt at Otacon. They clean up the fight, they clean up the objective. Let's take a look at it again. I mean, they did such a good job pushing Rest out, forcing him back, and then the Jhin W hits, and they're able to get the kill onto the front line and secure the Otacon. Okay, so Tulio Wall goes down, but okay, so Kyle got stunned over the rocks as he headbutted, so he couldn't get his combo off, so that's why Hongq got to live initially. Tarzan flashes away out of the Misfortune ult this time, and they burst down Rest, then kiting back. The Otacon is getting so low, so Junja goes in, he ults onto Tarzan to try and get it, and it's just a fair smite fight there. Tarzan coming up big, landing it. Wow, the rest of AL were able to finish off the kill the front line, and follow through with the fight.
And now, this is what makes AL's composition so terrifying. Once they're in the driver's seat, there's just no safe place on the map. You highlighted it beautifully, right? The ulti from Junja to make sure that he could get into the pit. Didn't need to use it for a kill, but in the 50-50, in a battle of pure skill, it's Tarzan who comes out on top in the smite fight, and AL who dominate the exchange. It was CFO with almost 4,000 gold in their advantage. Doggo almost 2K individually. Now starting to even up here as AL looking good in this mid game.
They certainly are. Dragon number 3 on top of the Otacon for AL. And now, the stacks that we were keeping track of for Shanks is fully stacked. He could upgrade it into a Medjai's to have the real painful LeBlanc game come through. 4 kills to his name already. And now is where you really have to conserve your CC and use it on the LeBlanc when the LeBlanc comes in, because it can just get so annoying if he keeps on going for these distortion combos and chunks people out.
Yeah.
Let's see what CFO can do to try and regain some control here, because AL just took such a massive lead in objectives.
The Otacon is such a huge advantage. Again, small gold lead, but the Otacon in terms of effective stats, in terms of XP, we've talked about it a lot over the course of the year, is huge. Soul point as well. 4 minutes till that objective. Only 50 seconds until the Baron. Jhin not normally the best at taking those objectives, but honestly, Trundle and Rek'Sai going to do a decent amount of work to help them secure it. CFO knowing that if they lose another big objective fight, it's going to be so difficult for them to come back into this one. And Shanks, for the first time, gets to do the LeBlanc thing. Moves in with support. They lay down vision. He can hide in the darkness, but instead it's Junja hiding in the darkness. Nice start onto Tarzan, but he's staying standing for an extra second. The full channel on the ulti as Doggo gets the kill. The pillar doesn't quite connect, and now it might be Kyle in trouble. Shanks waiting over the wall, trying to take down Doggo, but Doggo has the healing to stay standing. Shanks not able to get the kill down. Flandre, they want the follow. Doggo finally drops it. It's Hope who finds the last shot. 2 more bullets left in the chamber. Might be able to get something done. Flandre retreating. AL on the way out. CFO continue to work their way back into the red buff jungle, but AL happy to have 2 kills picked up.
Jhin got it.
You gotta respect Hope, man.
Yeah, you do. Okay, so he hits another W, but really, Shanks over the back of the Krugs wall is what kind of pulls that back and saves it for AL. Even with AL losing the first member due to the pick inside jungle, because they have Shanks on the bottom side, this Jhin and LeBlanc burst damage we talked about, the re-engage, really good for AL, and they just poke and prod. That's so annoying to try and trap him, so annoying to try and keep him down. Hongq tried his best to follow and get the kill, but he couldn't track down Shanks. LeBlanc escaped out the bottom side with a little bit of HP left after just assassinating 2 targets there, taking down Junja, taking down Doggo. Really nicely kind of salvaged there for AL. And this is why we say it's so annoying to play against Fed LeBlancs like this. How do you get her back under control? Yes, you have Vi ultimate. Yes, you have the Nautilus ultimate. Those are point and click, but they're also kind of delayed with travel time. So yeah, there is a little bit of, you know, ability to play around it still there. So we will see, but AL looking pretty dang good now since they've got the Dragon Soul possibility coming up in 2 minutes. Baron's on the map, so you can play with Vision a lot. Already having control on Baron and then threatening towards the other side of the map too.
And I think one of the big differences here is it's just so difficult for CFO, as you mentioned, to answer the LeBlanc. Unlike last game, right, when it was Hongq on the Akali, so many great tools, such good diligence to make sure Hongq could never do anything. Shanks has that freedom to go in and come right back out. So if you waste any cooldowns, you're going to lose out as Doggo caught by the pillar. Immediate Ghost comes in from Kaiwing. Dredgeline will not connect, but always have to give respect to the pillar, just locking Dogdo down. Dogdo down.
True. I mean, I had worse slip-ups this tournament.
Nah, those were great.
Let's take a look about this Baron, though. I mean, empowered Scryer's Blooms are always fun to put a lot of extra pressure. And when you have those empowered Scryer Blooms, honestly, it really benefits LeBlanc. Those things clearing out extra vision, there's more pockets of Fog of War for LeBlanc deadly burst damage to come from. And I have to, you're going to have to be like, all right, we're just going to on-site Vi ult and Nautilus ult this LeBlanc. You know, we got to actually get a kill on her, but then she's got an arm guard. So there is an answer for those delayed timings on those point-and-click CCs.
And she got a book.
That's the match we were asking for,
Dracos. We were asking for. That's confidence from Shanks.
You can just play around. You can play around the answers from CFO. Okay, we did also mention flash W's from Renekton.
Yeah.
That's pretty hard to do also, but, you know.
I think the big thing here is...
Hey, that's an elixir as well. Shanks is going all in right now.
Shanks spent a lot of money to make sure they win this next fight.
And it's a Dragon Soul, so it's worth it.
Definitely is. I mean, it's well highlighted, Kobe, right? It can be so difficult. CFO don't have great follow-up to the buy. Rest can't even stay in range to get the empowered stun. Forced to ulti. Double redemption used. Ball breaker interrupted by Kyle. Tarzan coming over the wall. Hongq isolated. Doggo is not in position. Hope able to play at range. AL perfectly timed bit of poke there to just chip cooldown, chip health bars down. No Weaver's Wall, no Dominus. An easy soul setup for AL.
Yep, there you go. How do you deal with the LeBlanc poke? AL, they're going to have the Chemtech Soul on top of it.
TP mid. Rest forced to backdash. Moving up to the top side, threatening the Baron. Of course, priceless moment of the game. Soul secured by AL.
I mean, CFO positioning on Baron, but like that's not scary. So you are...
What's the plan
here,
boys?
You're kind of blocked from your own base.
Kyle waiting over the wall. Oh my gosh, this is going to be devastating. Kyle goes over immediate pop. Doggo tries to full channel, but Kyle has the interrupt. Curtains calls, and now it's Shank and Flandre to follow up. CFO being routed, forced back. Hongq still standing. Doggo still alive for a brief moment, but it's the tag team of top jungle to tear him down. Hongq knocked out as well, and they don't need a Baron. They want the series. AL barreling down mid.
AL want that quarterfinal spot, and they're gonna take it.
AL with one final push. The patience. Once they had the lead for Shanks, there was no coming back for CFO. Rest versus the world. A few moments to watch the wave come in, but is AL taken out in game one, bouncing back in game 2 and 3. They've taken down HLE, they've taken down Genji, and now it's CFO as they move on to the quarterfinals.
Nice recovery in the series for AL.